right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. The State of the Nation discussion starts right now. We talk about matters, politics and everything in between. The Honorable Nelson Koech is here, Member of Parliament for Belgood. Thank you for making time. Dr. Ekuro Court, Party Leader, Third Way Alliance. Thank you for making time. FCPA Hesbon Omola, an economist. Thank you for making time. And Philip Kisia, Executive Director, Azimio la Umoja. Thank you all for making time. Let's start off with the dailies before we get into the discussion of the day, the IBC and also the UDA-ODM talks. I see here on the front page of the Standard, ODM cracks deepen. Orange Party is trying to straddle power and opposition, and the law may not let it. As quiet talks with President William Ruto's UDA gather pace, legal experts warn the party is trapped in a binding marriage to Azimio that it cannot simply wish away. The maneuver has ignited a brutal internal war, pitting a pro-government faction eager to cut deals with state house against diehards fighting to keep ODM from sliding into political submission. With Uhuru Kenyatta reshuffling Azimio, ODM risks tearing itself apart. And Kisi, I'll start with you in this. Is the ODM still part of you, by the way?
Part of,
as Azimio la Umoja, because you're the new director now, executive director.
ODM, and I'm a member of ODM.
Yeah.
Trevor can confirm that ODM is a strong and a founder member of Azimio, and the party that I belong to has never exited Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Alliance.
Okay.
We are firmly in the coalition.
So you support government then?
No, who said we are supporting government? I mean, we are supporting government, or rather we are there as Kenyans to ensure that the government functions. The government works, the government delivers. But our job as official opposition is to put government in check. That is our job.
Okay.
So please distinguish between enabling a government to function, because we need a functioning government, and an opposition which is there to perform its duty.
Okay.
Putting the government of the day in check.
And
that is our job.
If that is the case,
and I think we've done it effectively.
What necessitated the changes at the leadership of Azimio?
Well, you see, Trevor, change is as good as rest. And sometimes when you're given an assignment and you maybe are unable to keep up with the speed in the changing political environment, it is only prudent that changes are put in place so that we bring in some vibrancy and ensure that what we stand for is actually delivered to the people of Kenya. Yeah, so I mean, if effectively, I mean, if you're given a job and you get tired, or you don't subscribe to the ideals of that political party, it is only fair that we allow you to take a break.
Okay. So who doesn't subscribe to the ideals of this party?
You know them, Trevor.
Because it's your party.
You know them. I mean, you know them.
The front page of the Standard, they say ODM is cracking. Is it cracking?
Trevor, through pronouncements, yeah, you know the people who have wavered. You know the people who have gone off course. They are known to you. They are known to me. So I don't want to belabor on that point, yeah, because they are known.
So, but do you support the broad-based government then?
To what extent?
Because you said you're ODM.
My job is to support a government to function.
Okay. Because
a government has to function. But I have no business supporting a government that is failing. My job is to, look at...
So what is the opposition?
Wait, let me answer.
No, listen, my job, the job of... You see, yeah, at the end of the day, Trevor, we all Kenyans. If you have a government that is unable to function, we'll have a country that is dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Okay? We'll all suffer. But that does not mean that when you're in opposition, you stop doing your job, okay, putting the government of the day under check.
Okay.
That is our job.
Is your party ODM going to crack? Because even right now you're reading from different scripts. There's a part of your team that is ready to have a conversation with UDA. You say there's
no. There's only one party called ODM.
Okay.
There are not two ODMs. There's one party called ODM. And our ideals and principles are clear. Our manifesto is clear. Our constitution is clear. Okay. So there are no two ODMs. ODM is one.
Which one? The one that wants to talk to
ODM is one.
The one that is in Azimio?
You see, Trevor, don't make a mistake of confusing when a few characters from our side, ODM, decide that they must go in bed with the ruling coalition. They have a right to do so. If they think that the moves they're making are correct, you can't stop such people. Okay. Yeah? Why would you even bother stopping these people who want to go into bed and enter into marriages that are very unholy marriages? Okay. Yeah? These are people who have no morals. Immediately you go into bed with your enemy, or your competitor, so to speak, not enemy, your competitor. You go full blast, okay? You even forget yourself. You even forget your children. You have no business.
Who are those people?
The job of opposition
Philip, who are those people?
Yeah. You know them.
No.
You can't tell,
we are the state of the nation.
You know them, and there's no need to mention names.
Kisia, you're my brother.
There's no need for a long time. There's no need to mention names. Yeah. We know the people who are in bed with the government, and you see, Trevor, listen, Trevor. Yeah. Trevor,
tell the nation.
Listen, Trevor.
Yes.
You'll have your
no, time. Tell the nation.
You'll have your time, my brother, Prezo. ODM, our party leader, the late Raila Amolo Odinga, donated a few people to assist the government that was failing, government that was on a downward trajectory, okay? Those were experts that our party leader donated. And because these people came crying, they came for help. And as good Kenyans, we decided when you see your fellow brother sinking or in a hole, you don't cover the hole, you get him out of the hole. So that is what our party leader did by giving them experts. I think there are 2 or 3 or 4 experts that were given. Now the question that you must be asking is, have those experts performed to expectation? I think that's the question.
Do you still believe the government is failing?
Trevor, if the government was actually performing to our expectations, we'll have a happy population. Are Kenyans happy? Are Kenyans happy? You just carry out a quick survey in the streets. Ask 10 Kenyans, are you happy? Forget about anything else. Are you just happy to be a Kenyan? Are you happy? Okay. Check on the happiness index. And I can tell you, Trevor, 9.5 Kenyans are very unhappy. In fact, even here, if you took a quick survey, maybe only half of my friend Nelson is happy.
Only Nelson is happy.
But half, not even the complete Nelson, half of Nelson is happy. Because deep down himself, he knows that even the people in Belgood are suffering. Nelson knows. I was looking at Belgood constituency, and I have a profound respect for my brother here, Nelson. Profound respect. 100 primary schools. I think less than 100 primary schools in the entire Belgood. I tried to Google to look at the schools that are there. They are not really what we would call schools that we hope, that most of them, some of them are in a fair condition, but most of them are in bad condition.
Not in bad.
And that is actually a reflection of the Kenyan schools, of our education system, that the infrastructure that we have for schools is in terrible condition. Okay. So, because we're here to talk about the state of the nation, we must speak as it is. Okay. Education is a foundation of any country. And His Excellency the President has talked about taking Kenya to Singapore, not to Singapore. Okay? But when you look at just our schools, schools have no desks, a desk. I was looking, and you people ran a beautiful story on Citizen here. Yeah. And I watched it.
In Baringa.
And I was I went into tears, Trevor. I was crying. 63 years after independence, Trevor, our schools are made of mud. The floors, mud. Iron sheets. Okay. Even some of them have no iron sheets. Schools have no teachers. Yeah. Schools have no pupils. Is that the Singapore way?
Trevor, that was a story in Moro Primary School in Baringo. Let me hear what Esbon has to say. I'm coming that way then.
No, before you
I'm coming that way. Just hold your horses.
Why should you lose your thoughts?
Is the government failing, Esbon?
Good morning, viewers, and good morning, Trevor. I think the government is not failing from where I sit. And there are very many indications that will tell you whether the economy is picking up. But first, if you have to assess the state of this country and the government, then you must look at the rear mirror. We've had pandemic, COVID in 2019, and over that period, most countries went on a borrowing spree, taxes were dropped, and debts piled up. This current government took over 8.7 trillion in public debt and another 700 billion in pending bills. That is almost 9.4 trillion. Even if you leave everything else aside, you assume you're paying 10% on that kind of public debt. That is almost 900 billion budget hole you are dealing with on an annual basis. That is inherited. So we need to look at that kind of space. Two, we had the challenge of Eurobond that was crystallizing in 2024. That pushed the Kenya shilling to the dollar to almost 160 because of speculation and fear that the government wouldn't pay. That space has been avoided. Kenya was listed as a defaulting nation amongst other 5 nations. They all defaulted. Kenya avoided that space. If you look at it from that prism, then there is hope. Secondly, look at all our indicators within our key sectors, be it agriculture. Has the price of commodities, for example, for the farmer who has cows, do they get better milk prices at the gate? If I'm growing coffee, has the price of coffee gone up? Yes. But all these things crystallize to what Kesia was saying. Do Kenyans feel this progress? And that could be one of the reasons why the perception about the country and the economy could be bad. And I post this justification for that feeling for the common man. One is that this government went on massive reforms that other regimes avoided. Remember, we had universal health care under Kibaki regime. They tried it, they abandoned. Uhuru tried it with the pilot in 3 counties, he abandoned it. This government went full blast and came with it. And with that came what we call share deductions, which is a huge dent on the payslip. The other issue is the affordable housing program. The manner in which it has been executed leaves also a huge dent in the pocket, but its impact is massive. And then the third issue is what we have procrastinated with since independence. The changes in our social savings, NSSF. Again, it is a huge dent on the payroll. So the common man feels overburdened. The only glimmer of hope is that we also need to look at these things from a broader sense. And I would say this, if as a nation, 3 years ago, our average national savings was 12%. Today, we have 15% national savings. What does that mean? It means you and I, in another 15 years, for those who are within the working age bracket, you can take home in excess of 10, 15 million as your take home for retirement. Instead of what we've had since independence, of somebody working for 30 years plus and retiring with a check of 100, 150,000. So I think they are basic reforms, but they will be painful in the immediate space. And that is why the government then needs to ask itself, what can we do differently to ensure that the common man feels better? And I think the conversation around some of the changes we are hearing in terms of the taxation then should be able to address some of the concerns.
We'll talk about that in just a bit, but it's Kesia who brought up the issue of government failing. But the question was really, is ODM cracking? But let me rephrase that. Maybe is UDA cracking ODM?
I think on the issue of ODM, I belong to a profession where we say the substance of a form. There are certain things that are obvious. We have cabinet secretaries who joined government from ODM. We have permanent secretaries who joined government from ODM. We have several people who have joined boards and parastatals, either as chairs or members of the board, who are traditionally and primarily ODM members. So the influence of ODM membership in government cannot be understated. And it happened while the party leader of ODM was there. So Raila, even though he was a bit cagey on how they would relate in 2027, it was very clear they were supporting the government until 2027, at the very least.
Okay.
So if ODM is meeting UDA to discuss post-2027 agenda, it doesn't stop ODM from doing what it's doing. But ODM has also interests that are varied. And I hear where Kisia comes from. Kisia is a leader and a politician in this region and in this city. The dynamics of politics in this city is different from elsewhere. And therefore, it is normal for certain factions of ODM leadership looking into the mirror of 2027 to be wary of their vote bloc. And that is where the SG of ODM comes in. The voter population in Nairobi is very diverse. It is different from other regions. And therefore, if a party is predominantly in a certain area of the country, then you'll have those problems. Okay. But you realize that the mainstream, I would call mainstream, because I look at how many within a political persuasion are in a certain corner. Yeah. And I see many of ODM leaders leaning towards working with the UDA government, but others also feel their values, in one way, I don't know how those values are assessed, do not align with the UDA. Okay.
Let me bring in the question. First, you adversely mentioned by Kisia, so I'll allow your right of response for the schools in...
I wasn't adverse.
Almost 100 of his schools.
Nelson is my buddy.
But, and then as he was...
They're actually about less than 90.
Front page of the Standard, where ODM is cracking. Does this... And I paraphrase that question. Instead of saying ODM cracks deepen, is it UDA cracking ODM?
Let me start from Belgut. Belgut is already in Singapore, and I don't need to defend my record on that. I'm a second-term elected member of parliament, having done so well in my first term, and doing exceptionally well in my second term. I'm sure that point will be validated next year, and you will confirm what I've said. I've changed that constituency. Anyone who's driven through Belgut will tell you that I don't want to pronounce some of the things here on public, and to feel like I'm
beating your drum.
Yeah, I'm blowing my own trumpet. But I have done so well. We've done, for all the link roads in my constituency, we've tarmacked almost 70%. I'm looking forward to tarmacking up to 90% of the link roads in my constituency. And this is exactly what President William Ruto is doing. I should be done by about 90% of link roads in my constituency by end of this year, or God willing, end of next year, if there'll be some that will not have been tarmacked by then. In terms of schools, I've done exceptionally well. I don't know where Kisia Googled from. I prefer that you don't Google. I'll give you a drive because you're my friend. You can do around in my constituency and see for yourself the kind of transformation. All the independent polls, whether those ones that I do consider as bogus independent polls sometimes, and all the polls that have credibility, independent pollsters, have placed me between position 1 and 20 in all polls that have been conducted in the near future. So in the past, in the recent, what do you call it? In the recent polls surveys that have been done. So I'm comfortable in that, and I've done so well in the constituency. That can be attested by those that come from my constituency and anyone who will bother to drive through the constituency.
So is UDA cracking ODM?
It is not. Let me say this, Trevor. That is a question. In fact, first of all, Kisia should have understood that Azimio is a product of similar arrangement that UDA is having with the broad-based. It is a product of, such arrangement that happened before. There are a section of party members of ODM that are uncomfortable with that arrangement, and that is democracy. But for me, I think there are sections of those people who have held Dr. Oburu Odinga with such contempt. There are structures in ODM. Okay? There is a National Executive Council committee, which is NEC, and then there is the National Governing Council, NGC. NGC ratified and accepted to have work together with the UDA in the broad-based arrangement. That was done in broad daylight, and there were Everyone was aware. In fact, the Secretary General of the party himself, Sifuna, is the one who read the statement of accepting to work with UDA. He repeated the same statement when he was in Mombasa. Let me tell you, there are people who have permanently survived just by mere being Raila Odinga's diehard. Yet in their hearts, they, first of all, have no ability to deliver for their people, and number two, had no intention of supporting Raila even before. And I'll go, for instance, James Orengo. James Orengo has no history of ever working with Raila Odinga. In fact, he's run against Raila Odinga. He never believed in Raila Odinga. But because he realized that without having to work together with Raila Odinga, there was no way he was going to be elected for any political seat in Luo Nyanza. That is the only time that he supported Raila Odinga. He's gone back to where he was. He's simply just going back to where he was. He was never supporting Raila Odinga. He's never believed in Raila Odinga, but he believed in he wanted Raila Odinga for his political reasons and to be able to be elected.
Yeah.
Okay?
Is that the same for the SG?
The Secretary General of the party, Sifuna, has other interests in mind, and they are playing out. First of all, in my view, and where I sit, I think Sifuna sees himself as having been left out in this arrangement. You must remember that Sifuna had wanted to be the cabinet secretary, and I know those things because when I tell you, I know what happens behind the closed doors in some of the places.
And he's not here to defend himself.
Sifuna
said he did not.
Edwin Sifuna had wanted the position of cabinet secretary. When he did not get, he became a bit jittery. Look at the questions that he poses to those who were picked to the cabinet, especially when they appear before the Senate. They are very personal. He looks like an extremely jittery person. Yeah. He did not want...
Were you there when he was asking for that seat? Because he said he did not ask for a seat.
I am telling you now here, Trevor, that Edwin Sifuna had requested to be considered for cabinet position. All these things that you are seeing is the pain. Yeah. He had wanted to be part of the team that were given out to the president.
Those are just allegations because we can't prove that now.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Yeah. And when I tell you, I know what is happening. Okay, let me also say, let me put it this way. Okay. Edwin Sifuna is, if the party, where is the Secretary General, has accepted to work with UDA, what will be his problem? There's a party leader. Party leader is Dr. Oburu Odinga. He has shown them direction. What he's simply doing is holding Dr. Oburu Odinga with contempt. He's telling them that,
Trevor, I think...
I'll give you a chance to respond.
You are not my party leader, which is wrong. Okay. In fact, such people should be disciplined. When a party has taken a position, that position must be followed with fidelity.
Okay.
Okay. So if you feel you're uncomfortable with the arrangement of your party, the brilliant thing to do is to exit.
Okay. Let me hear what Dr. Kuru has to say about this. Is UDA cracking ODM?
Trevor, I'm actually a little bit shocked when listening to my brother Philip Kisia and Omolo. First of all, Omolo is talking about macroeconomy, and I think he is the one who can educate us about economics. Yeah. But for me, I like to look at micro. The person on the ground. How do they feel about the success of this government? How do they wake up in the morning and actually satisfy what their needs are? That for me is micro. I'm not an economist, but I would love for Omolo, my brother Omolo, to educate us further on that, because he's talking about the bigger picture. But I'm talking about the real politic, the person on the ground. And Trevor, I've said many times in your show, when a Kenyan calls you or SMSs you and asks you, please send me 200 Kenya shillings, my kids have not eaten, then how then can you actually say that there's progression or success in a government? Okay? So I leave that, and I hope Omolo can come back and maybe respond to that. But coming back to the issue of UDA cracking ODM, I think it's true. Let's not sugarcoat it. And I listened to Kisia. The problem in Kenya today is actually politics of expediency. I'm actually even surprised that my brother Kisia is now the Secretary General of Azimio la Umoja.
He's the executive director.
Executive director.
Yeah. The SG is Karoli Omondi.
I thought he was in the other party with my brother George Khaniri.
They are members of the coalition.
But be that as it may, it's true. Kenya's politics, Trevor, has been commercialized. It's about survival of the people in leadership. It's not about the ordinary Kenyan. So ODM is true. It's cracking, you know, and the obvious option, the obvious reason is that because it has no ideology as a party. The ideology is about the person of Raila Amolo Odinga, who may God rest his soul in peace. But without that, you cannot drive an idea. You cannot sustain it. And that's why ODM is being bought by UDA. And the business which is going on is who can we compromise within ODM. And there are so many orphans, and I hope my brother Kisia here will not end up being one of those orphans as the executive director of Azimio la Umoja. Because what is Azimio la Umoja? First of all, there's confusion. There's a time, you know, Trevor, we discussed this in your show here. You cannot be a member of two political parties at the same time. Yes. The Political Parties Act is very clear. Azimio la Umoja political party is a registered party. Then you have ODM. So maybe Kisia can also now tell the nation. Yeah? Is he in two political parties? Because Azimio la Umoja political party is registered.
As a party?
As a party.
Okay.
With the registered political parties. And therefore, and then he is also in ODM. So so this lie, political lying, I think in my view need to stop. I really like to focus on the plight of the ordinary Kenyan.
Okay.
What does the ordinary Kenyan actually feel about this party? You see, my brother Nelson here says that Belgut is in Singapore. You know, let me paraphrase Professor PLO. PLO Lumumba said that we are the only country in the world that wants to be another country. Yeah?
That one talks too much, though.
No. we are the only country in the world that wants to be another country. Okay. That's what PLO said. Okay. And because you see, the road to Singapore. And by the way, I deliberately actually bought a book and I sent it to State House. And I hope President William Ruto is watching this show. And I sent it to him. Yeah.
Which one?
I bought him from Third World.
Third to First.
Yes, Third to First World. Lee Kuan Yew, the story of Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. Actually, I sent it, and I even autographed it for him.
You should have sent Nelson.
I can still buy Nelson.
I'm sure he's ready.
And I hope Nuria Books is watching this show because I would like them to send a copy. Then, so the road to Singapore was a deliberate. It was about purposive leadership that decided we must fix certain things in our country. Singapore was actually a fishing village. But Lee Kuan Yew decided that how do we transform this country into what it is today? So when President William Ruto or my brother Nelson here says that they are already in Singapore, let's tick the boxes.
Okay.
Yeah?
I have to take a commercial break. Let's come back and discuss that in just a short while. I have to take a quick commercial break. We are back with the State of the Nation conversation. We're still talking about IBC, ODM, and UDA. Who is cracking? Who is UDA cracking? ODM? Is ODM cracking itself? All that coming up in just a bit, right? Stay with us.